kasoo jeeda Northeastern Province halkan waxaa fadhiya jaaliyad oo qurbaha ku nool oo gobolkaas ka soo jeeda waxaan rajaynayaa inaan kala faa'iideysano oo warbixin aan ka qaadano martada sharafta leh nala joogta martada nala joogta maanta waa u jeedin hortiina ay fadhiisaa waxaan ka bilaabayaa maxamed cabdow oo waxaan ka bilaabayaa maxamed cabdow oo ahaa xildhibaan hore oo ka soo shaqeeyay baarlamaanka Kenya haddana u taagan xildhibaan mar labaad inuu noqdo waxaa kale nala jooga marti kale ayadana sharaf leh saad la socotaan Kenya isbedel baa dhacay waxaa la sameeyay dastuur cusub habkii hore ka duwan baa hadda loo sameeyay oo gobol kasta in uu ismaamuli karo marka gobolka Mandera musharax governor yana la jooga asiga maanta oo hortiina fadhiyo oo Ali Robo oo ku jiro dhaxada waa tan program keena aan furnin ka hor aan bilaawin waxaan ku soo dhawaynayaa Sheekh Aadan inuu aayado Quraan noo akhriyo kadibna program keena meesha aan ka sii wadano Sheekh Aadan fal yatafadal
آمين صدق الله العظيم
ugaas علي حسن إن مرتضى شرفت له سود ويوم
الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله آدي يعني أوفر أحسن هاي إن ما أنت هلكن كلنا ما هذا هو الرئيس وحنو إلنا إلهي حلينا وياك نستعين هذه بنكم مدن قلينا وحكلوا أن مدن قلينا ماله قفل بمرك الله لا نبقبته إلهي أبوليه حاجرة الصغر أنا وحبه هنا أبوري ما يشون أبوري واتقانين meeshaan ka soo baxnay anagoo nadiif aan ka soo baxnay tigeli inay hawshan socoto waxa inta markaan soo dhaweeyo waxaan leeyahay walaali oo beelo badan wada leh muslim ah oo Soomaali baatiin marka inta aan ka baxo waxyaabo qaarkood waxaan ka maqlaynaa dalkii in dhibaatooyin ka jiro jeedina arintaas tafatirkeeda aniga ma galaayo waxaan noo joogo ninkii arintaas diyaarka waa inuu isu sharaxo
shakhsi kale asagana ka soo jeedo oo muhiim ah
وما سنتين مرفتش مرتدى شرفت له مع عبدو هذا الربع محمد برو أنا إن شاء الله غيبتين سي غيب اللي بعنك عيارنا وعندنا إن شاء الله أنه مارتي كعد سنين شغادة هدوهلا إن شاء الله هدوهلا وعلينا هاي dadkii sidoo ku midayn lahaay majmuucada la buufati badan baa taala insha Allah asagana sidii aragtidayna waxaan ka codsanaynaa maartay inuu dadkii kor u soo qaado wixii ismaamul baa la dhahay hadii insha Allah duulayra ismaamulkaas si qayb libix iyo si fair inuu qaybiyo insha Allah annagana waxaan ka codsanaynaa dhulkii dhibaato badan taala إنه إلهي نبض كنا ننكس ده مركو صلاة جسد كده قعد صدر دول كي إن شاء الله إلهي وبريء ويرا إلهي ونبضي وخير دول كي كديك Honorable Mama Abdul Naqana إن شاء الله أنا welcome County Governor represent إن شاء الله أنا welcome سيدو كلام مركا أرنتكم ديرانا يا si qeyr qabta iyo si nabad la ku soo dhawaada anagana insha Allah wixii taray tusaale meeting adinku iskala mar iska bacdeen kadib su'aalaha dambana insha Allah waa ka qayb qaadanaya welcome assalamu alaykum
dadku ma xasan tahay soo dhaweyntii aan ku jirnaa wali waxaan soo dhaweynaynaa aynu soo dhaweeyo odayaasha Ibrahim Hamid tafadhal abd Ibrahim Hamid
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته martida sharafta leh soo dhawaada intaan kale oo nagala soo qayb gashay shirka maanta ah idinkana waan soo dhaweynay si fiican soo dhawaada anaga reer Mandera hadii aan nahay reer Northeastern aan badhaha because dadkaayna meesha fadhiya ma aha reer Mandera kaligood maanta marka si fiirisid waxaan u arkaa reer Northeastern inaan nahay martida noo imaaday Maxamed Abdul iyo musharaxa gabanaga iyo Mr Ibrahim soo dhawaada waa in soo dhaweeyne marka anaga waxaan rabnaa inaan in soo dhaweeyne waxaan nahay representative kin oo UK joogo marka dadka noo imaado waan soo dhaweynaynaa wixii noola imaado ama noola imaadana wixii aan kaleena markii naloo soo jeeday kadib ayaa wixii aan dhihi karnaa aan ka dhihi karnaa marka noo soo dhawaada martida noo imaaday iyo intiina aan ka soo qayb gashay gacmo furan oo ugu soo dhaweeyay martida ayna thank you
ana la jooga maanta nin siyaasi ah oo horena u tartamay xilka xildhibaannimo oo Gaarisa ka soo jeedo oo magaciisa la yiraahdo محمد عبد الله تفضل
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم آد بي أمها سيهين أخيارتا سوق القالسي شركا كنا مرتقاذي مرتي شرفك رمتي dadaan aniga kamid ahayna darajo weyn oo lahayn ba isiyeen marka taa horta waad ku mahadsantiin teeda kale waxa weeye horta waxaan aad u jeclaysan lahaa gafanaha markuu noo hadla kadib shirka in lagu martiqaado oo xoogaa yar furfurtay asaga siyaasadiisii iyo yaan runtii jeclaan lahaa haasaatee bwana gafanaha waxa weeye horta dadkan nimankan in badan ba carabkooda jiitay Mandera bay dhahayaan ma aha ee Northeastern baan nahay haddii lagu soo doortana Mandera way ku soo dooran laakiin ani mas'uul baad iga noqon waxa la wixii dib oo igu imaado walaalkay muslim baa tahay walaalkay Soomaaliyeed baa tahay isku tala iyo isku deegaan baan nahay waxa laga yaabaa kan soo doortay intaan wax ka waay inaan adiga ku imaado hadda ka horna way qabsatay marka anu waan arkay hadda ka hor wayna i qabsatay ninaan ani soo doortay oo i fiijiyay nin wajeer laga soo doortay aan u tagay uuna yiri waxaad iga damacsan tahay waan ku fulin uuna ii fuli marka hortu waxaad ogaataan bwana gafana aan ku dhihi sababtoo ay tahay wili hadda wax kale oo Mandera ka socdo gafananimaan u taagana la adiga ka hor ma arag marka bwana gafana dhihi marka haddii maanta aabad intaad xoogaa iyo maskax wareer igu rido oo si fiican wax ii fahansiisana maxay la xoogaa markii la xoogaa sheeka yar baan ka yar maqlay dadka aan danayn hayo yaad horta kamid tahay honestly markii loo hadlayo sababtoo ay tahay wadanka wada ogsoon tahay wax badan buu soo maray dib badan baan siiba soo marnay marka waxaan macnaha kugu qiyaasayaa you might be more ethical than unethical marka taasan horta yaan kugu qadarani marka waan ku soo dhaweynaynaa aad iyo aad baan ku soo dhaweynaynaa gaaris baa ku soo dhaweynayso wajeer baan fili inay ku soo dhaweyso de Mandera ana ayadaaba shirka ku qabatay marka walaalow soo dhawow waanan wala joognaa insha Allah haduu Ilaahay yiraahdo waanad mahadsantiin
aad iyo aad baad u mahadsantahay kaas wuxuu ahaa Maxamed Cabdullaahi kelmadaas wanaagsan waan kaaga mahad celinaynaa waxaan kale u yeerayaa Jankad Chairman Abdirashiid Khalif please ku soo dhawaad microphone
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله I will not take more than 2 minutes. Mine is just to mention something we did last year for the droughts in northern Kenya. And Madama, most people are here today, I just requested the organizers to give me 2 minutes so that I can give them the feedback. Last year, we did some fundraising, DNIO, TV appeal, close to $60,000, which we raised and sent to northern Kenya. Close to $30-something thousand in Wajir, $8,000-9,000 Garissa Mandera. Madama Wajir was, seriously affected, so we prioritized for that. So thank you very much. That money has been spent on what you've intended for. Maybe at the end of the session, I've got video from Wajir. If anyone wants to stay behind 2-3 minutes to have a look, inshallah, we will do that then, inshallah. Jazakallah.
kaasuha Abdirashiid kulay horumarkaas uu sheegay arrimahaas bulshada looga danaynayo waa wax hadda gobolka u baahan yahay marka waxaan rajaynaynaa in laga qayb qaato hadda kulay marka barnaamijkii soo dhaweyntii meeshan ugu baxayna barnaamijkii aan halkan u imaanayaan gudagalayna waxaan ku soo dhaweynayaa mikrofoonka Honorable Mohamed Abdow oo horin u ahaan jiray xildhibaan haddana musharaxa ah martida waxaan u sheegayaa af Soomaaliga iyo af Ingiriiska kii ay rabaan inay ku hadli karaan haddii la fahmaynin noo sheega kulay afka waa la bedeli doonaa insha Allah shukran
alaykum tolo waad mahadsantihiin this is our second day being here marka sidii sharafta leh oo loo soo dhaweeyay garoonka lagu soo dhaweeyay xalay iyo habeen horena loo soo dhaweeyay magaaladu iyo sidii sharafta leh aad u imaadeen hadda aad noo dhageysanaysiin oo soo fariisateen horta waad mahadsantihiin marka waxaan cudurdaar aan ka dhigan rabaa wax yar af Soomaaligayga qalliban oo si fiican u aqoonin laakiin aan ku qasbanahay maanta inaan ku hadlo Soomaali baa isu imaaday reer Northeastern baan nahay haddaan af ajnabi on nin walba uu yaqaano aan si fiican u aqaano aan ku hadalno I think it will not be fair to ourselves and to the generations to come marka afka anagu inaan xoojino aan ku hadalno idinka oo joogo meesha tanna qurbaha joogana caruurtiina haweenkiina idinkoo dhan afkiina si uu dhumin inaad ka dadaashiin baan rabnaa horta marka tan labayso waxaan sinaa salaan oo reer Mandera reer Wajir reer Garis reer Northeastern markaan u sheegnay saaxiibo badan baan leenahay inkastoo Mandera ka socono markaan u sheegnay London baan u soconaa Europe baan u soconaa dadkaas inaan la soo hadalna ayaan rabnaa marka dadkii meesha joogay waxa weey salaam bay in soo direen salaantii ma naga godoonteen ahsan sana waad ku mahadsantihiin marka xogo yar ayaan tataaban rabaa anigu si la sheegay horaana xildhibaan baan ahaa Mandera West haddana musharax baan ahay laakiin waxaan u socdaa maanta escortkii aspirant governor oo Mandera County teydana duci iyo wax walba in ka rabaa laakiin maanta programkaygu weyn waxa weey governorka weey saad u sheegteen qof kaloo ka horeeyo oo meeshan imaaday oo reer Mandera oo gobanimo sheegtay ma jiro anagna waan ka warqabnaa idinkana waabad sheegteen Mandera ahaan waan tashanay dad ka warqabtiin I know this is a global village program kan ku haynay Nairobi iyo Northeastern iyo Mandera waad ka warqabtiin waan tashanay bishii 7 ayaan fariisanay ilaa iyo Mandera County baan aadnay Mandera County residents representative toodi waan isla fariisanay waad ka warqabtiin baan u maleeyaa Ali Ibrahim Roba in reer Mandera ay ku heshiyeen inuu the sole candidate for Mandera governorship u noqdo ma ka warqabtiin arrinta marka idinkana taas inaad nala qaadiin baan u imaanay waad mahadsantihiin haddaad bad imaadeen waana la qaadeen baan u maleeyaa wixii harane sidoo saaxiibkay uu sheegay waan saxaynaa wixii su'aalood haysiin waad soo doontiin jawaabteedina ayadoo dhan baa liin hayaa horta taa waa sida tan labayso horta reer Northeastern ahaan wax badan baan soo marnay new political dispensation hadda markaan taaganahay wixii hadda isbedel oo governor iyo programkaas keenay baan waxaan ka dhihi rabaa dadaalkan sameeynay Northeastern ahaan u sameeynay waxaan ka soo bilaabnay wax la yiraahdo horta censuskii 2009 census reer Northeastern kaalin weyn bay ka qaateen dadaal badan bay sameeyeen dadaalkii ay sameeyeen waxaa ka mid ah in censuskii ahaan jiray hal habeen in dad la xisaabo inaan ka dhigano 5 habeen ilaa meel kala 7 habeen in la xisaabo dawladda baan ka codsanay civil service societies baan la kaashanay waxaan dhahnay maadaama aan nahay reer guura maadaama aan nahay dad dhibaataysan oo dadkooda dhan hal habeen la xisaabi karin in dawladda ay fursadna siiso xisaabtii 40 sano ilaa 50 sano naga dhuntay in loo sameeyo oo shan beri na la siiyo FM radios ayaa warkii laga sii daayay waqtigiina la xisaabtii ay ku soo toosan waxa ay bishii 8 oo kisto jilaal bay noqotay dawladdu waxay bixisay cunto waxay bixisay biyo booyada ayaa la bixiyay programka waan ka faa'iideysanay shamberi baan la xisaabay xisaabta anagu wixii ku soo baxay waad aragteen we are the 5th or the 6th largest community in Kenya today warka min soo gaaray okay as from a figure of as low as 900,000 the figure is about 2.3 million population of Northeastern population ki waan ku faa'iidnay markii la sameynayay sharciga cusub new political dispensation ka hadda aan ku dhaqan rabno political seats constituencies xisaabtii waxay noqotay population in lagu bixiyo 7 kursi baan horta meesha ku helnay wixii dhibaato naga soo gaarayna waad ka warqabtiin dhibaatadu waxa weeye shacabka Kenya dawladda Kenya xisaabtii way nala qabsatay ma noqon kartaa la yiri Soomaali inay noqoto the 6th largest community Kenya inay ka noqoto suuragal ma aha la yiri marka kootini bay aadeen in xisaabtii censuskii la cancel gareeyo xisaabtii Northeastern ahaan baan ka tashanay waan ka fariisanay anakana kootini baan aadnay waxaan dhahnay resultka anaga lama cancel gareyn karo kootinigana sidaan rabna ayaa loo xukumay sidii xaq ayaa loo xukumay hadda kursiyaasha anaga banaan way 7 kursi baan meesha ka helnay marka tan labayso dadaalkii kaloon sameeyay waxa weeye sharci cusub oo hadda in lagu dhaqdo la rabo madax waxa uu noqday reer Northeastern wixii aan rabno in aan ka fulin loo fuliyo badan baa ku jira kulley waan loo sheegi doonaa dadka aqoonyaanta si fiican u leeyahay presentation samayn doona laakiin faa'iido badan baan ka helnay for example waxa ku jira in constitutional commissions la sameeyo constitution commission ila 12 sharcina waxa ku jira marka every region must be represented so far the Somalis have been represented Red Northeastern waxay haystaan ilaa iyo 15 16 commissioners meelo barkood ayaa madax u ah marka alxamdulillah dadkii meesha galay kuwii madax noqdayna shaqadoodii si fiican bay uga soo baxeen dadkii members ahna si fiican bay roolkooda u sameynayaan marka waxa weeye Nairobi markaan joogno in political circles markii la hadlo waxa ku jira marka the single beneficiary most beneficiary of the new political dispensation ay Soomaali noqotay for example waxa weeye Northeastern Somali waa ku nool Somali keli baa ku nool marka reer Gaaraysa haday commission qaataan member haday ka noqdaan Wajeer ama Mandera it's not a big deal Northeastern ahaan baan u soo galnaa haddaan isbarbar dhigno nimankii ka imaado Nyanza waxaa degan qoomiyad fara badan Kisii baa ku nool Jalwa nool dad badan meesha ku jira marka it's not possible for Luos to always be represented in those political commissions marka marba Kisii baa soo gal marba Jalwa soo gal mar qof kala soo gala laakiin Soomaali meel walba ayaa ka ku jira marka waxa leeyahay dadkii faa'iido badan meesha ka helay inay Soomaali noqotay marka alxamdulillah faa'iidadaas fara badan ayaa noo soo gashay tan labaysana waxa weeye mar badan baan 40 sano ama 47 sano ayaan ka qaylinayne under development dawlad goboleeysigan hadda la sameeyay waxaan u maleynaynaa dadka faa'iidada badan u heli doono inay reer Northeastern noqon doonaan maadaama aan isxukumi doono maadaama yaan sameey lacagta la qiibin doono xisaab ay ku xiran tahay xisaabtana number 6 aan ku jirno waxaan u maleynaynaa dhibaatadii 47 sano na soo haysay inaan ka bixi doono hadduu Ilaahay nagu guuleeyo dad fiican oo shaqadaas qaban karo oo cali rooba uu ku jiro haday gacanta u gasho I think our problems will be a thing of the past marka nimayahow saas ayay wax u jiraan meeshitan waxaan rabnaa inaad si fiican wax nolo qabatiin ducaan in ka rabnaa si kastaba xoogiin bal rabaa aqligiin bal rabaa waxa weeye hadda qurbaad ku nooshiin dhulkan waxaan u maleeyaa waxay hadda bilaabi rabno dawlad goboleeysigan hadda la sameyn rabo wax lagu dhaqdo waa Europe muddo fara badan idinkuna aqooniin baa tihiin wax baad barateen wax baad ka shaqeynaysiin you have got a lot of experience kii meesha aad ka hesheen ayaan rabnaa inaad la qiibsatiin inaad yaan sameey dhulkiini wixii aad ka qaban kartaan aad u qabatiin baa la in ka rabaa marka taa haddaan ka gudbo muddo sanadkan bilowgiisi ilaa waqtigan dhibaato ayaana soo martay dhibaato waxa weeye colba nagu dhacay dhaxda anaguun ah oo col laga fursan karo col inuu dhaco laga badbaadi karay laakiin uu Ilaahay ba sababay marka uu dhacay baa jira colkaasna waxaan ii sheegi rabaa wax yaan sameeyay lagu soo xawilay oo meelo kala ka dhacay ayaana soo saameeyay saaxiibada anaga tolka anaga ku nool Ethiopia ayay dhibaato dhaxdooda ka dhacday maadaama aan dad yaan sameeyay we live across borders ayaa dhibaatadaas Mandera soo gaartay muddo ay socotay dhibaato badan baa dhacday laakiin hadda waxaan in bishaarayn rabaa heshiis baa jira waa la isu imaaday muslinkii baa isu imaaday reer Mandera isu imaaday heshiis ayaan sameeynahaynaa waan ka fariisanay I think that will be a thing of the past also. dhibaatadaas hadda muddo 2 sitimaan ah dhibaato socoto ma aha waana ka gudbi karnaa waana ka gudbaynaa marka saas ayaad ogaanaysiin waxaan naqaanaa dadkii meesha fadhiyo dhibaatadaas idinkana inay sida ay anaku direct noo saameynaysa idinkana saas in saameyso laakiin hadda waan tashanay waan is aragnay we have looked at the root cause of the problem and we are trying to handle it both in Kenya and Ethiopia marka saasna taas ayaan in bishaaraynaya marka niman yahow governorka musharaxa governor Ali Roba inaad nala qaadin baan rabnaa reer Mandera ahaan beesha hadda aan ka socono oo garre markaan tashanay musharax ilaa iyo 9 qof ayaa u soo baxday meeshitan hadday soo baxday waan soo xulnay Ali Roba la soo baxnay consideration fara badan baa jira one of the main consideration waxa way waxaan dhahnay meeshitan siyaasi kama rabno waxaan rabnaa manager funds up to 10 billion ayaan aaminsannahay inaan heli doono paya iyo kasii badan marka qofka fundkaas noo manage gareeyo ayaan u baahanaan dhahnay siyaasi way buuxaan laakiin manager baa loo baahan baa la yiraahday background sees baan fiirinay work experience baan fiirinay marka I'm sure we have not gone wrong marka ninkan ayaan la soo baxnay kolley CV-giisa asaga dhiibi doona laakiin haday reer Mandera beesha garre murale dogoodi nin walba oo meesha jiro haday yani ay ku riyaaqeen warkiisi haday ku riyaaqeen CV-giisi experience-kiisi idinkana saas baan u malaynaa inaad nala qaadin baan rabnaa markuu ugu dambeysii waan ku dheeraday warka maxaan in ka rabnaa horta ducaan in ka rabnaa aqli baa leen ka rabaa xoog baa leen ka rabaa taageera leen ka rabaa wax walba leen ka rabaa marka nimayahow saas aan u bixi wixii kaloo su'aalo ay soo bixin doontiin waan ku noqonaynaa saas ayaan dhihi tan ugu dambayso raalahaada kolley siyaasad hadda lagu jiro su'aal laga fursan kar ma aha kolley waa la soo celin doonaa anaku reer Northeastern ahaan iyo Kenya ahaanba siyaasaddu meel ay mari haysiin waad ka warqabtiin siyaasaddu waxa weeye is a bit fluid wax la yiraahdo ICC ayaa meesha soo galay musharax 1 iyo 2 iyo 3 oo ICC keeskeedu uu saameynaya jira marka arintu ma kala baxsano laakiin waqtigana gabaabsi buu yahay meel aan hadda ku hagaagno Northeastern ahaan aan ku dhamaysan malaha laakiin waxaan damacsanahay in aan al xisbi aan ku beerno xisbigaas markaan ku beerno wixii national cake ah aan qiibsano si fiican wada jir baan wax ku gaari karnaan aaminsanahay there are talks although it has not been concluded that as Northeastern people and even as Muslims in an hal xisbi aan ku beerno laakiin xisbigaas is not yet things are fluid marka waan u fiirsanahaynaa marka ducadiini inaan meel fiican aan ku hagaagno in aan ku guuleysano ayaa leen ka rabaa salaamu calaykum waraxmatullaahi wabarakaatu
haddana waxaa noogu soo xiga warbixintii weli noo socota Ibrahim Barow oo aqooniyaan ah oo gobolkan wax badan research ku sameeyay oo rabo inuu warbixin naga siiyo Ibrahim kusoo
Unfortunately, I'll have to speak English. Is there anybody who is struggling with that? English. Is that okay? Good. First, I must take this opportunity to thank all of you who have come, as well as the organizing committee who have, I think, have been working on this program for the last couple of days. We have been in London now for close to 48 hours. We are grateful for the reception, the welcome. have been requested by just the escort. Delivered here is being delivered by all of us. Many things is going to be resting on his shoulders, county-wide, not any specific community. At his request, I'm going to do a small presentation to you guys about the governance structure in the county, what benefits it's going to bring to the people, and we hope that you guys will take up your roles, because each and every single individual, whether you are in London, whether you are in Mandera, whether you are in Nairobi, we are all part and parcel of the same family structure as the Somali community. So without spending too much time, I'm just going to delve into a bit of details. Unfortunately, I've got a small, this is the map of Mandera. I missed to include Garissa and Wajir. Yeah. But for some of you who have been in Mandera, this is the map. If you look at the top half of Kenyan map, the top right-hand corner is a place called Mandera. Some of you will be probably quite familiar with the names there: Kutulo, Elwah, Malkamari, Asabito, Ramodimto. Does that sound familiar? Mandera. So that's basically the map of Mandera, for those who don't know, in the context of the Kenyan map. This is, I think, some guys who is about to take off, and this is what the governance is, devolved governance structure is all about. The sun is just rising, and we're just about to take off. County government structure. Before I go into the real details of about the county government, I just want to take you through just a little bit, to give you a little bit background why the county government. As you know, in the last 2 decades, from early 90s, the Kenyan communities have been agitating for constitutional change. The constitutions that we inherited from the British had got its own challenges, it has got its own weaknesses, and over the years it has been amended several times, resulting in some kind of mutilation, which in the end we realized that document did not meet the inspiration of the Kenyan people, of which we are very much part. So people started asking for constitutional change. People started demanding for a complete constitutional overhaul, and a lot of people paid with their lives. People sacrificed their lives, people sacrificed their time, people sacrificed their resources. And with the guidance with the Almighty, that process has been successful. And somewhere along the line in August 2010, the Kenyan people decided to vote in that document as a supreme governing document that is going to change the way this country has been run for the previous 47 years. So I just want to show you just a little bit in bullet point form what was the problem with the old system. Yeah? The people who really bore the brunt of the previous constitution is the people of Northeastern Province. There is no area, there is no region in Kenya that is underdeveloped, that have been abused in terms of human rights violation, in terms of denial of basic infrastructure, basic human rights facilities. There is no region that has suffered at the hands of the old regime and the old constitutional order than Northeastern Province. So, uneven distribution of national resources. There is hardly any resources. If you look at the entire northeastern province in a situation where there are probably about 800 billion annual government expenditure. The entire northeastern does not receive more than 500 million shillings. That's a drop in the ocean. Yeah. That's why, probably with the exception of a small area in Garissa, the entire northeastern doesn't have a single road that is permanent, because every year when it rains, they get disconnected, the earth road get washed away, the schools' performance are poor, the health facilities are extremely deplorable, you know, and human rights abuse is rampant. Yeah? So that is the ultimate sacrifice that the people had to pay in terms of suffering in the hand of the previous document. Marginalization of areas which do not produce people who are close to the centers of powers. You see, the way the resources used to be distributed, it used to be by the ministries. And the guys who are in charge of the ministries are the guys who are directing everything to their own regions. So if in northeastern counties like Wajir, Mandera has never produced a cabinet minister, then you've got nothing. You've basically got nothing. And even in Garissa, when there was a minister for a long time, but even that minister was kind of, controlled. So the guys who calls the shots are the guys who dine and wine with the presidents. You know, even our ministers, much as they seems to be in the government, but they are always outsiders, because that region have seen historical injustices over the years. So if you are not known to be close to the government of the day, then you receive nothing. That is how over the years we have been suffering. Corruption, nepotism, that was rampant within the central government. Yeah? That place is a home. Probably when a governor is going to tell you how corrupt the entire northeastern is, but Mandera County last year was rated. Okay, the Mandera County was ranked, I think, the 4th or the 5th most corrupt county in Kenya out of the 47. What do you see? The provincial administration, everyone is selling. Even the relief food that comes to the people, the DC is selling. It's not a secret. And that is in close working relation with the resident. They just the few, the people who are there, the people who have got a little bit of wealth have taken the provincial administration into their own pocket at the expense of the ordinary folks who have nothing but just lamentation. People just lament. That is the extent of corruption. If you can imagine, that place, that county is such in dire state. Because the guy who is a DC, for example, in Banisa, is from Kisii, or he is from Luanyanza. So what does he go to miss? He comes here, stay 2-3 years, sell all the relief food, harass the local people, corrupt them, tell them, I'm going to give you a location, I'm going to give you a division, and he just milk the place, and the following day he goes, yeah? But what is going to happen under the new constitutional dispensation, the responsibility of managing the affairs of the county rests on the shoulders of the individuals who are from that area, because this is not a directive from the central government. It's not going to be posted by anybody. It's going to be decided on by the people of that area, and you are the guys who are going to put him in the office. So if he's not going to deliver, it's the time to evict him. But in the previous regime, who has got the powers to remove the DC, the DOs, and the PCs? Only the president. And the president doesn't care about what happens to the small people who are in the small corner of Asabito, a small corner of Malkamari, or in a small village called Fincharo, if you know what I'm talking about. Yeah? The need for people to identify what is best for them. You know? In the previous constitutional order, somebody is going to tell you what is good for you. Yeah? But in the new constitutional order, you are the guys who are going to decide what is your priority. Where are you going to focus? This is the biggest, single most important function of the county government that has fundamentally altered the way this country used to be governed. Yeah? Dictatorship and abuse of human rights by dreaded provisional administration. I think historically, anybody from Wajir here? Who knows Wagala massacre? Yeah. Malkamari massacre, people who are from Mandera, Wajir, Mandera, Garissa, none of those former districts have been spared, you know. So that is going to be a thing of the past. It will be self-determination. You will be governed by your own sons and daughters. And that has again fundamentally altered the direction of this, where these places are headed. The next one, inability of the central system to deal with poverty in the country. The central government, where the father is just sitting in Nairobi and dishing out small slices of bread to every corner of this country, has completely failed to deal with the issue of poverty. The issue of miskin is become the biggest challenge, and therefore people say the status quo is not sustainable, it's not acceptable, it's not tolerable, and that is when people stood up, you know, to demand this constitutional change. The most strange things, though, the people who are actually agitating for this constitutional change are actually people who are benefiting. Look at the people who have paid with their lives. If you look at people who are from Luo Nyanza, if you look at people from central Kenya, people from Nairobi, these are people who have really paid a heavy price for these documents. Yeah? So, but us, though we are very lukewarm in the initial demand, because we always believed the little we were getting was good. But people who knew what was being dished up, because we are very far away from the center of power. We didn't know what is being, you know, what is happening in some part of this country, what is happening to individuals, you know. If in a cabinet of 36 people, about 8 of them probably are from one single community, and those are the people, when they lost power, they said, oh, what we used to get, we are not getting. Probably we start demanding. So, as they say, you know, if you fight for the general good of the communities, then even the smallest person benefit. In the Kenyan context, the Kikuyus were fighting, the Luos are fighting for this, but also the Somali community has benefited in a significant way from the new constitutional dispensation. Recognition of diversity of the people of Kenya in terms of cultural values, and the fact that one size fits all doesn't work. Where somebody will sit in Nairobi and say, this is what is good for Mombasa, this is what is going to be good for central Kenya, this is what is good for northeastern province, doesn't work. In central Kenya today, you will probably need roads that will take fresh food to the market immediately. They need bigger things. In northeastern, people are desperate for drinking water, you know. When you're actually dying of thirst, when you're taking your kids to school but there is no chair to sit on, when you're going to take your sick patient to hospital and the nurse will just write for you, go and buy Panadol. You know, this thing doesn't exist in central Kenya or in Nairobi or anywhere in large part of this country. Many of those basic services are there, but in northeastern, it is not. It is not there, And therefore, if we are given the opportunity to govern ourselves, our priorities will be different from the priorities of the guys in Nairobi, you see. So ultimately, this business of everyone want the same thing doesn't apply. Different people need different things at different times in different places. Therefore, the new constitutional order, the new county governance structure is going to make the people decide what is priority at that point in time. So, having talked about the challenges with the old order and having voted in the new constitution that decided to split the country into 47 regions, what is the objective then? I think I don't need to go through that. It is just opposite of just what I have said. Yeah? But I'll just, in a bullet, you see, to recognize the right of communities to manage their own affairs and further their own development, to protect and promote the interests and the rights of minorities and marginalized communities. Up until 2009, when the population of Northeastern turned out to be 2 million, we have been treated like minorities. And we were the minorities. So this constitution actually, much of the census of 2009, like Muhammad Abdul Honorable talked about, this constitution is meant to take care of the interests of the small people, the minorities, yeah, and is the marginalized communities. It is no longer business as usual. So we are going to benefit, promote the interests and the rights of every single community. We might say in Mandera, maybe there is one large tribe, one smaller tribe, but in the bigger context of Kenyan community, at some point, the Somali community were considered a minority, and somewhere along that line, I think we benefited, the commissions, and now we will say, where is the Muslim? Where is the representative from Northeastern? You know, people, because the way this document has been designed is such that it has to be all-inclusive. The business of just winner take promote socio-economic development and processes throughout Kenya, everything here in the county of Garissa, who will have the resource, like Mheshimiwa mentioned, some 10 to 30 lives of people. So there will be easy access to services, medical treatment, good schools, and if 3 years or 4 years down the line, those facilities are not going to be there, whom are we going to ask? The guy in the corner, yeah? Good. Equitable resource sharing, yeah? That is how, for example, just based on some criteria, probably the governor will mention, Mandera County, for example, is going to get the third largest share in terms of revenue allocation from the county, from a Revenue Allocation Commission. Why? We were the champions in many areas. We are the champion in corruption. We are number 2 in the poorest county. We are the largest in population, you see? So the most advantages, there are sometimes we hate to be poor, yeah? But at times when the poverty also, something positive come out of it in terms of this resource distribution. So all counties, I think, is going to benefit in a significant way. Power to the people. You guys, wake up. Having talked about the bad old days, having talked about what we want to achieve, so who is going to do it? It's the government, county government. So what is county government? County government, I think the Ugas had talked earlier. He said, I think is governance based on regions. I can't say that in Kiswahili. There you go. He said it again. Yeah.
wuxuu noo sharxay county government habkii ay u shaqaynaysay iyo awoodda habka ay u kala qaybsan tahay dabcan intii yarada hadda meeshan nagu siiyey laga yaabo in course loo galo jaamacad in lagu soo barto laakiin habku u soo diyaariyey hab aad iyo aad maaragtay u qiimo badan wey marka telefishinka naftiisa waxaan ka rajaynaynaa in ay soo daayaan qaybtan si bulshada ku dhaqan gobolkaas ay uga faa'iidaysato waa cashar aad iyo aad u wanaagsan hadhow haddii la sii daynayo maanta marka waxaan sugaynay musharaxa governor cali robow in na siiyo warbixin tala marka kadibna waxaa noogu soo xiigi doonaa question and answers waxaa opportunity emission jirta shakhsidii qofkii rabo in photo opportunities la galo musharaxiinta markii aan programka dhamayno yaan rabnaa in arrintaas qofkii rabo wuxuu la soo xiriiri karaa nuur isaaq marka qofkii goon ahaan ula kulmi rabana nuur isaaq insha allah ha la xiriiro si loo diiwaangeliyo haddana magaciina iyo magaca jaaliyada guud oo gobolkaas ka soo jeedo iyo martada kale maanta ka soo qayb gashay iyo dadkii kale qaban qaabiyay xafladan waxaan ku soo dhaweynayaa magaciina mudane cali roba
السلام عليكم ددوينها كسو قيب كلي حفلة بدو هريسو waxaan rabaa inaan ku bilaabo mahadcelin aan u mahadcelinayo dadkii functionkan qabanqaabinta functionkan ka soo qayb galeen iyo waxaan isku dubaridkii waxa iyo dadka nagu soo dhaweeyay meeshan nala mashquulay maalintan imaanay ilaa haddadan iyo idinkoo danooyinkiini ka soo baxay ana kana soo qayb gasheen fursadan marka laba qayb baan rabaa inaan maro qaybta ugu horeysoon af Soomaali baan ku isku dayay inaan ku maro qaybta labaad af Ingiriisi baan ku mari doonaa waxaan idin soo diyaariyay idin kala hadlo af Ingiriisi baan ku marayaa marka I will start with the introduction. Magacaygu waa Ali Ibrahim Roba, mudane musharaxa gobnatoraha gobolka Mandera. Background-kaygu haddaan ka yara hadlo, education background. Iskoolka dugsiga hoose waxaan ku bilaabay magaalada Ceelwaq. Dugsiga dhexe magaalada Ceelwaq iyo Garissa ku galay. And dugsiga hoose dhexe waxaan ku maray magaalada Ceelwaq, Garissa iyo Narok. Dugsi sarena waxaan ku dhamaystay magaalada Wajeer. marka kadib jaamacadda ugu horeysa waxaan ku maray Kenya Utalii College. Akhyaar ba meesha joogaan haddana aan college-ka iskula jirnay. marka kadibna jaamacadda waxbarashada duuliyanimadan Mareykanka u aaday muddo 2 sano ah. jaamacadda ugu horeysa 3 sano ay ugu qaadatay cilmiga tourism. marka kadibna college-ka duuliyanimadan aaday magaalada Texas 2 sano meesha joogay. marka kadibna waan soo laabtay shaqan bilaaway jaamacadda degree-ga labaad baan u galay University of Nairobi, Bachelor of Commerce degree. Alhamdulillah, marka fursadaas degree-ga markaan dhameeyay chief pilot baan ka noqday hay'adan u shaqeeyo oo international organization specializing in humanitarian relief support ah. marka kadib MBA baan ka sameeyay University of Nairobi, major in strategic management. fursadda shaqadana alxamdulilah waxaan ka noqday director of flight operations in charge of the core business of the company jegadaas oo ilaa haddadan aan hayo marka backgroundka sida ugu gaaban waa inta kaloon rabo inaan maro sababtan UK u nimid maxaa waaye you guys are stakeholders fursadooyinka meesha idin keentay idinka og annagana waan ognahay hadda fursadooyinku way isbedeli doonaan waajib baana saaran waajibkana waxaa weeyaan inaan idinla socodsiino fursadooyinka north eastern ka soo bixi doono idinkana idinkoo og ama aad ka qayb gashaan ama aad shaqooyinka hadda meesha aad ka haysataan aad ku qanacdaan ood meesha ku wartaan laakiin information la'aan inay idinku dhicin oo fursadooyinkaad kaga qaybgeli lahaydeen for lack of information aad kaga qaybgeli waysaan marka hadda maadaama fursadda ay gaaban tahay programkan idiin soo jeedinayo ka mid ah arrimahaas baan rabaa inaan maro walaalayaal PowerPoint presentation kan rabaa inaan ka galo Ibrahim where are we right now in northeastern province arrimaha inta Mheshimiwa Maxamed Cabdo uu maray iyo inta Ibrahim ay mareen ma rabi inaan ku laabto laakiin arrin aad igu taagan baan rabaa inaan wax ka dhaho arrintaana maxaa weeyaan waxaan arkay anigoo ku nool magaalada Nairobi muddo badan Soomaalideenoo reer northeastern oo marka fursadooyin yaryar oo macno lahayn ay u soo baxaan magaalada Garissa annagoo mar horeba iskaashi aan lahayn in dadka magaalada Mandera ay lacag xaabis u galaan ayagoo rabo inay fursaddaas ay ka bedelaan dadka reer Garissa inay aado fursadda reer Mandera fursad markay u soo baxdo reer Garissa taasay sameeyaan marka reer Wajeer fursad markay u soo baxdo isla sidaa bay tallaabada qaadaan ayagoo waxba ay ka go'i lahayn in ay ku farxaan fursadooyinka u soo baxay ummadda Soomaalida ku nool gobolka northeastern what we intend to do and we've done a lot of consultation right now with the stakeholders in northern frontier districts haddii ilaahay mayuu dhihin inaan iskaashi fiican aan samaysano iskaashigaas oo aan kaga dan leenahay haddii ilaahay mayuu dhihin you can never push the government unless you have a strong voice to determine the future of that government as such our intention is going to be to try and unify the leaders the governors senators of the arid and semi-arid counties, which are 19 counties out of the 47, in order for them to forget their differences and get unified by the commonality of their problems, what they are suffering, the level of poverty and everything. The resources that are expected to be devolved into the county structures will still be too limiting for it to benefit the entire Northern Frontier District in terms of infrastructure. It requires hundreds of billions of Kenya shillings to put the road infrastructure in place. As such, once we are able to sit, and the Constitution requires every 4 months, the 47 governors must have a sitting with a sitting president. If 19 out of the 47 governors sitting with the president every 4 months will push the same agenda in terms of equalization of the underdevelopment within these arid and semi-arid counties, you can imagine it will be impossible for the sitting government to ignore. As such, our challenges are, and your challenges are, you need to talk to the stakeholders from the counties that you're going to, that you align yourself with in terms of where you hail from. And be able to tell them, you guys need to synergize. You need to get together in order to push the sitting government for the betterment of making sure that we can ask, and ask with a voice that cannot be ignored. It will be easy for Ali Ibrahim to say, I need roads constructed from Mandera to Wajir. The government will say, we don't have that budget. It will be very easy for the government to ignore. If we ask the governor of Mandera, Wajir, and Garissa to say we need the road from Garissa to Mandera constructed, the government maybe will be easy for them to say, maybe with a little bit of difficulty, that they don't have the budget. But it will be impossible to ignore 19 counties out of 47 saying that these arid and semi-arid counties require deliberate investment by the sitting government in order to make sure equalization of opportunities within that county, besides what the devolved government structure will deliver in terms of resources. And this is important because the Kenyan economy is growing very fast. The revenue allocation, I'm going to discuss it later, is going to increase each year, but we are in stone age in terms of development. The money that is getting allocated, which will average up to 10 billion annually, direct funding from the national government, is going to be a drop in the ocean vis-a-vis the level of development that we are supposed to get to establish within these localities. I was privileged with Mheshimiwa Mohamed Abdo to travel around the county in July. We have gone through centers where 450 students share 2 classrooms and 2 teachers. That is the extent of underdevelopment that we're dealing with. We have gone, half the places we have gone, they're only asking for water to sustain their life. Not roads, not schools, not hospitals. That is the level of underdevelopment that is facing the people of Northern Frontier District. You can pass. So, this is very crucial for you guys to understand how this level of underdevelopment is affecting the people of the counties we represent. If I take the county fact sheet for Mandera, for example, and this is collection done in 2011 by the stakeholders in Mandera County. The population in total area mentioned, in Banissa we have 18 primary schools, and we probably have over 50 settlement areas, all requiring schools. In Mandera West, we have 25. The optimal number as at now is we need well in excess of 300 classroom capacity just to meet the bare minimum schooling requirement of one constituency. Now, if you look at an average cost of 500,000 per classroom, you can imagine what you're getting as being a drop in the ocean. You can move down. In the entire Banissa constituency, there are 2 secondary schools, and a total of, there are 3 secondary schools, I think, in Mandera West, 7 in Mandera Central, 9, I think, in Mandera East, 8 in Mandera North, I think 1 in Mandera, 8 in Mandera North, yeah. And about 30 secondary schools, which lack the capacity in terms of classrooms and other amenities for us to do. If you look at hospitals, proper hospitals, the entire county has 4 hospitals with less than, except Mandera Town Hospital, with less than 5 or 6 personnel per hospital. If you look at dispensaries, we still have more divisions than dispensaries as we have. Number of health centers is similar. The non-governmental organizations are what have played life-saving scenarios in terms of what you are doing. You can move back to the PowerPoint. Now, the question then becomes, what are the responsibilities that are facing us as leaders of Mandera County? What do we need to do? If all of us, you guys have developed your expertise, You've tried to build yourselves academically, and you live within the comfort of the environment within which you live, and you decide the county to self-govern itself. Now is the time for you to demand for leadership and visionary leadership with integrity for us to collectively push Northern Frontier districts to greater heights. We are improving, however, we are quite far. What are the expected challenges in Mandera County now that we're trying to build a devolved government structure? Managing expectations. For lack of understanding, and because there's a lot of popularization of resources expected on the ground, the expectations from the communities in the county, from the devolved government system, will be extremely high and not easy to manage. Everybody will want this, that. We need to be able to prioritize, and that is a challenge in itself. The county is ranked as the 4th most corrupt county in Kenya. Now you can imagine the challenges awaiting me, where everybody, if by the grace of God I get there, everybody will be asking, where's my cut? You need to do is, where's my cut? Where's my share? Where is that? However, the community that got together and presented me have presented me, proposed me as the person to run for this position on the basis of one thing. We will have to make hard choices. And this is not going to be something if we have to propel our counties to greater heights, we must make hard choices. We must make sure that we do not give in, regardless of complaints. During the time I was getting interviewed for this position of the governor by the Council of Elders from the Gare community, I was interviewed. When the interview finished, I was told, it's done, you can go now. And it was over 2 hours. Then I told them, sorry, I have something to ask. They asked, but nobody asked anything. Why do you have anything to say? I say, well, I'm not coming over to seek this position out of desperation. I'm a professional with a job. My age, I'm 38 years of age right now. So I will want to ask something so that you guys can make informed decisions. They ask, what is it? And I told them, if you, the Council of Elders, are likely to ask me later, why is so-and-so in jail? What are you doing about it? Then don't give me the chance, because I will make sure the law takes its course. The hard choices we've got to make is to make sure people understand the responsibilities that they're supposed to undertake. You are responsible for your actions, not your clan. I do not intend to respond to the question. For example, a Gare guy is involved in corrupt activity. He goes to jail. Then the Council of Elders summon me and say, how can you look at this? This guy is suffering. His family is suffering. He should have known that before he got involved in that activity. As such, you have moral responsibility to support the leaders that are going to be presented and push them to make sure that the law takes its course. The culture of impunity has to be changed. And just to finalize, then the elders said, they were looking at each other and they said, what do you mean? I said, this is my position. 2, if you are likely to dictate who comes to the county executive committee members, you should not give me that position now, because you can never head an organization and have incapable individuals running the various departments that are there. We'll need to make sure that we invest in making sure the government has 2% of the revenues that are going to be allocated to counties on the basis of diligent resource management. As such, we like to instill, by way of making sure the structures we put in place instills confidence to any informed person who will be looking at it. Now, what is the parameters, weights, and amounts as proposed by the Commission of Revenue Allocation that is likely to accrue to Mandera County, being the county I propose to represent. And the parameters in use is population. 33% of the national coffers will be subdivided amongst the 47 counties. Against 45% on population. Mandera County has over 1 million persons as per census of 2009. Equal share of all counties, 25%. Level of poverty, 20%. Land area, 8%. Fiscal responsibility, 2%. When these variable amendments were done, Mandera County initially was expecting something like 5.7 billion. And that, when the parameters, the Commission of Revenue Allocation went around the counties, collected their views, and amendments were done. Excluding the 0.5% equalization fund, the CDF and LATF, the county is expecting 6.99 billion within the first year. The second year, well in excess of 12 billion. And if we include the rest of the revenues expected from the national government, we're expecting about 8.5 billion within the first year and over 12 billion within the next year. And this is for a county that has not received even 500 million annually. The question becomes, if you get 8.5 billion into one county, what is the multiplier effect of such revenues in a county? You guys can only imagine. Every need that you can think of is there to be fulfilled. Schools, hospitals, bakeries, juice factories, name them. You need to plan, execute, make sure you are able to take advantage of the opportunities that are likely to arise from within these counties. The government is moving on the ground. You guys are here. You know what brought you. If opportunities avail itself in your counties, make sure you're not left out. I will just brush through those slides as I've discussed them already in terms of percentages. The data, the formula and the data was derived from 2009 census, and the weights have been given as discussed. Now, the other challenges is high level of illiteracy, existing culture of impunity, as I've discussed. Literally all sectors are in dire need of some attention. Hence, there will be extremes of needs that would not be easy to simply prioritize. However, we have commitment to make sure this is going to work out. My strategic plan for Mandera County. Now, first, the reason for this devolved government structure in Kenya is purely fast-tracking of development within these counties. If that is the case, we know that we're in Stone Age compared to other counties. However, we also know that we must wisely use the revenues that we are going to receive in order to make sure that we are able to generate employment, we're able to industrialize, we're able to improve our infrastructures and everything. Then what do I intend to do? The law has given us the leeway for us to be able to determine how we spend our money. My plan is to set up a county investment board composed of 6 or 7 persons. And all the revenues received in the county, we are going to make sure that at least 30% is allocated for purposes of investment on behalf of the county. 30% of 7 billion or 8 billion is going to be about 3 billion, about 3.5 billion or thereabout. 3.5 billion if only directed to industrialization and other developments for purposes of making sure that we don't consume over a 12 months period and wait to receive again so that we can continue consuming. And eventually, your county, this is a mini unit, is a country coming up. We need to be able to start generating revenues within the first year, we should be able to say we've generated X employment opportunities within the county, other than what is being brought in directly by the devolved government structure. We should be able to say the county's revenue turnover is X vis-a-vis this, and be able to determine that. Now, what is left, which is 70% or thereabout, is going to be consumed in various areas, as I've discussed, in terms of our needs. Water security, I have a commitment to make sure within that county, within the first 3 years, 2 to 3 years, we should not have population that will be talking about drinking water. Our mainstay, the mainstay of our economy is pastoralism. I was privileged to have worked in Khartoum. They have an animal market that slaughters over 4,000 animals every day for purposes of export. My strategy is going to involve creating a regional animal market where animals from southern Somalia, southern Ethiopia, Wajir and Mandera will be able to be processed for purposes of a market. What do we need to do with the regional animal market? We intend to set up a meat factory for purposes of, we supply more than 60–70% of the animals to Kenya Meat Commission in the river. We need to start thinking on how we can add value at our levels and be able to trade internationally with the Middle East. Khartoum flies tons of meat to the Middle East every day. All we need, and from an area of expertise, is 4-kilometer runway for an international airliner to land, not a fancy terminal. So if we can get the functional fitness to invest in construction of a runway that will have the capacity to accommodate an airliner, we'll be able to export directly from our county to the Middle East. And the multiplier effect of a meat factory. First, the regional animal market is going to keep everyone busy, literally. Everybody will be struggling to take part. And that's an economic activity on its own. The county will form a prastato which will invest in buying the animals on behalf of the guys. We will like to take advantage of the LAPSET project to ferry live animals to the Middle East alongside the meat. Now the meat factory is going to have byproducts. Skins and hides that currently we ferry them as skins and hides will go through tannery. And we value add using state-of-the-art technologies out there in the world and be able to produce high-quality leather in the county, which is generation of revenues in itself. The leather produced, we establish a factory for us to start producing leather products, jackets, sofa set, name them. Or else we produce and we're able to sell per square feet or per square meter, vis-a-vis selling a unit as a whole for a fraction of what it will cost. Infrastructure, there's urgent need to construct roads within the urban centers, starting with Mandera town, in order to lay out foundation for the expected urbanization within our county. Next slide. We need to embark on stopping the growth of new settlement centers. Why? Because of the limited resources available to finance the socio-economic development, such as schools, hospitals, roads, boreholes, emergence of new centers, is extremely detrimental to our cause. I have traveled around the county. You find units of 20 houses. Kids are there, no school, because they don't have the capacity to be accommodated in a school. Our communities have encouraged growth of new, smaller units, 50 houses, 30 here, 25 here. You want a chief, but you're killing your own economy by making sure your kids don't get the chance to go to school. We need to stop emergence of new centers and push the people to the ones that are currently existing so that we're able to develop schools, hospitals, and other amenities required. The future of every economy is driven currently by ICT systems. We have commitment to make sure from the word go, we start right by making sure we adapt to the technologies existing. So we don't start saying we choose old Stone Age technology in order to cut down your cost. It's better to invest, and it's expensive now, but we do it right. ICT is a concept we intend to pursue. Farming along River Dawa and the constituencies, I will come down to farming. Industrialization, as I've mentioned. What is being produced right now along River Dawa in terms of mangoes, pawpaws, pineapple, bananas, and such is enough to sustain factories. However, we've not invested. It may just require 100 million to set up excellent factory for processing. Those of you that come from Mandera know, every mango season, the road from Mandera to Wajir smell of spoiled mangoes because they pick them ripe, they don't use them, and they all get spoiled. We intend to make sure we add value in order to make sure the storage capability is done by processing them into juices. Construction of a new runway, we've discussed. Urbanization. Those that come from Mandera know, Wajir is not an exception, so is Garissa. The level of planning in these towns where we come from, the headquarters, is wanting, to say the least. However, in Mandera, we are a bit lucky. The towns stop at a fixed point, beyond which there are no towns. We would like to replan as we develop the infrastructures within the town to put up a new central business district. This is where you guys will have to fight to get those opportunities allocated to you. We invite the Somali community in the diaspora to take part. We will be setting up our roads infrastructure for that new CBD as we develop the central business district, as we develop the infrastructures within the old town, in order to make sure that we set pace for the development of a city that will have the capacity to attract investors. Construction of last slide, previous. Okay, yes. Close monitoring of our county schools, adult education, establishment of Mandera University of Science and Technology. We spend a fortune right now in Kampala and Nairobi for purposes of university education for our children. We need to partner with Wajir and Garissa in order to set up institutions of higher learning. Resources don't leave the county. They come back to the county and circulate. Those are our objectives in order to make sure that partnership is developed. Next. Ramo has excellent integrated Islamic school. We intend to nurture. Islam is our way of life. We have a structure of governance that we'll be responsible for. We'll be responsible for how the funds are going to be utilized within our counties. What we will like to do is to make sure that in each constituency within the first 2 years, we have an integrated Islamic school. And the concept we need to adopt is in each locality, when we build, we have hundreds and thousands of our brothers and sisters who've gone to Islamic universities out there. I know of more than 200 graduates from universities in Sudan, having done Islamic law and everything. We must create a way of absorbing them so that then the culture of our Islamic life is strengthened from grassroots. Guys can go and seek education higher. When they come back, the system must be able to accommodate them. So we don't wait for them just to become imams for a fraction of what they would have made elsewhere. We would like, there are limited mosques available. In Mandera, there are 5. You have 300 graduates. How are you going to take care of them? We need to make sure our schools are integrated schools that will teach Islamic education alongside secular education, so we're able to employ personnel under the county resources and give the opportunities required as we build our Islamic culture's strength from the word go. Envision urbanization of Mandera County. I would like to run through slides. This is just these are extracts from my strategic plan for the county and images of what we expect to do animated. You will just keep sliding through. In terms of roads, development of modern infrastructure, a modern international airport. This will not cost us 800 million at the most. We need it. Animated version of keep your imaginations going, okay? The same, continue. And increase in juice processing, increase in manufacturing, juice processing factories to start with, without doing anything. Using what we have now, we have the capacity to start juice processing. Meat production, as we've discussed, slip through the slides. My area of interest is going to be agriculture. Tannery, finished leather products. Here, you need to stop at this point now. We have River Dawa running from Malkamari up to border point 1. Currently, less than 0.5% of that river is under utilization for irrigation. Our objectives is we will not have resources to start massive agriculture. However, I envision this is development along River Nile in Khartoum, Undurman area. And it's an aerial picture I've taken myself overflying the city of Khartoum. Now, this is about 5 kilometers by about 8 kilometers width running from the river. In an area, this is extremely large place. Our objective is to start in phases. Phase A being something similar to this, where we start irrigation, commercial scale irrigation. The county will undertake the preparation of the land. We will plow the land. We will create the infrastructures in terms of piping, in terms of tunnels and everything. We will put meters in order to make sure people don't take advantage of, waste. And we will do research using expertise to determine the cash crops or high-valued crops that will do well in our kind of environment. And then we will train the farmers using the county resources. Allocate land in 3 acres or thereabout to families. And initially, all of that will be at the cost of the county. However, after the first year, we will have metered water systems into these farms. We will like to make sure that people produce. The county will buy, because we will produce. Again, is to have a research determining we have the need, we can consume, we can add value, and as such, the market will be there already. We will train them so that the infrastructure we put in place is not going to be too costly for it to self-sustain. What is happening in Northeastern now? Investments are done without any control. So what we intend to do, these guys are going to pay the bills as they've consumed. 2, they're going to pay land rates at the end of every year. And the land will not belong to them. It will be the county land. As long as you continue producing, the land will be yours. The objective here is to make sure people don't trade in land instead of putting the land to productive use. And use phase 1, phase 2 a long way up until we can build the capacity required to produce for Wajir, southern Ethiopia and southern Somalia, inshallah. Once Once the phases are complete, this is along the Nile, and this is the same development that is happening. This is River Nile. We would like to get to see a similar structure running along River Dawa. The social strategy. We intend to put up Mandera University of Science and Technology. We will invest. We will not wait. With a teaching and referral hospital that is private, that will have the capacity to take care of most of the stuff that we need to do. Next. Real estate development. You guys need to collect yourselves, not as individuals. Collect yourselves in 200s, 300s, and come and face the county governments in Garissa, Wajir, and Mandera. Ask to be allocated land for you to start real estate development. Development of these counties will be the responsibility of everyone. But the infrastructure will be our responsibility. You guys need to do the rest. Rainwater harvesting concept. We would like to encourage, the world today has moved away from boreholes into rainwater harvesting programs. Last year when there was drought, as Rashid has said, WFP spent over 6 billion between Wajir and Garissa. We do not want to be fed when droughts come. We would like to ask WFP and the others to help us build capacity so that we can harvest the rainwater along the lagers that are running everywhere within our counties. The volumes of water, those that come from Mandera know, it cuts off points whenever it rains. We would like to harvest such water into man-made lakes, not dams, so that we can support irrigation away from the river. Next. You're moving the wrong side, I guess. Now, I was privileged to have been in Mandera last year in October. This is the lager, those that come from Mandera, that has cuts the town into several portions. You just try and play. If you look at the, it did not play automatically. Yes, okay. And that is the volume of water that passes through that lager. And it runs for days before it stops. If all this water is harvested upstream into man-made lakes, and this has been done in Israel, China, in Oklahoma, Texas, and what starts at artificial lakes end up becoming permanent lakes from one rainy season to the other. And along the lakes, we will be able to develop farming along the lakes. The concept in question is here. If this is the stream, for example, Laksure runs from Takaba up to Kutulo. The other lagers run in between Mandera and Ramu. If we tap water by creating infrastructure similar to what's in use elsewhere, be able to put man-made lakes. Next slide. We will be able to support farming around these lakes and be able to pipe water 50, 60 kilometers away from those lakes, hence reducing the reliance on wells. I have a commitment to make sure that democracy and public service is delivered. Transparency and accountability is nurtured within that county. Security, peace, and conflict management is my commitment. There will not be development without security. It's impossible. We've got to commit, all of us, to make sure that our communities understand the price of conflict. And I'm sorry for having taken the time, but the program that has brought me all the way from Nairobi to come to see you guys could not have been finished in 10 minutes. I would like to request you bear with me. Thank you very much.
kaasi wuxuu ahaa mudane Robow aad iyo aad buu u mahadsan yahay haddana waxaan galaynaa inkastoo waqtiga aad iyo aad nooga gaaban yahay salaadina adinka casarkii inuu soo dhow yahay mas'uul la tukaday waxaan galaynaa question and answers marka qof alla qofkii su'aal qabo istaag please gacanta taag magacaada sheeg su'aashaadana soo gaabay si loogu soo jawaabo marka Bismillahirrahmanirrahim
when I Governor Ali or to this is what I expected all along and that's why I wanted first you to speak I listen to you, and then I should be able to ask you questions. I think it appears to me that I might be transferring some of my thoughts from Mandera into Mandera. And honestly speaking, your community, the Gera community, they must have had a very, very hard task to sit down and to come up with an individual like you. With the history of Kenya, with the political corruption that we have experienced, with the underdevelopment that has been contributed by our leaders from Northeastern Province for the last 47 years, for them to sit down and comply with the new constitution, I will say you are compliant with the new constitution. For them to sit down and to comply with the new constitution and to come up with such a very young, that 8-year talented individual like you is something I myself from Garissa has to be proud of.
Thank you very much.
And I'm more than happy, to be honest, to be associated with you.
Thank you very much.
And I was, you know, in fact, the previous slides, they were not motivating me. Because that was the old story in the constitution and whatever. I was always saying, no, you know, the country, the responsibility of the government, all these things was not motivating. I was a bit drowsy. At the moment you took into the floor and I saw those aerial pictures that you have taken while you are flying over Khartoum, I think you are the person that we really needed. Now, my question is, your county, as you have said, I might become part of it when you become the governor, becomes the 4th most corrupt county in the Republic of Kenya. Now, corruption is a cancer. In our religion, and if you look at it, especially in our region, 60%, I have been a civil servant. I worked for the Minister of Health for 6 good years. I worked in dispensaries, I worked in general hospitals. And I'm afraid to say this, that 60% of our community, the corruption is inborn. It is within our society. We have kutubki Quran kawan lamnay, ummatanadana khasuman kagalay. Then we started using people who have no relation, then talk on imaden in an anaga wahsino, then we incite among ourselves. Now that you have got that task ahead of you, number one, you will be having a very difficult task to fight your own community, because the DC who is coming from Nyamira or Central Province, the first idea that he will come with, first, those people, they are not fools. They are educated, I work with them, they understand. Before they learn themselves into a new environment, they start to learn the tactics and the tricks of the communities that they are going to work with. And they work with them how they see them work. If you encourage them to practice corruption, then obviously that's the way they want it. If they see that you are very difficult of capping small settlements, in that point I slightly, Honorable Ali, disagree with you. And the reason was this. Now that we have known for the last 47 years, Mandera has got a population of over 1 million. And for the last 47 years, Mandera ended up getting 6 MPs because of the population. Some say Mandera bribed, and that's why they have inflated the figures. But to me, I believe that that is a right figure for Mandera. Now, if you cap those settlements, then you will be capping our population growth. You will be discouraging our people going back into the rural villages in Kwamahama. So I was thinking, if you probably have a second thought and start thinking, those 50, 70 manyatas, I will utilize your skills, your knowledge, and the resources that you'll be getting from county government. Please settle them, encourage them, give them schools, give them hospitals, and in 10 years' time in your governorship, the whole of Mandera County, square kilometers, will be just like London. Thank you so much.
My brother, first, I will respond to the advice, then I will respond to the question. What I'm putting in place now is my draft strategic plan for the county. My desires have to get the approval of the county assembly, county executive committee, both of which are not in existence as at now. Once we get them in place, this is my proposal to them. I would like them to discuss and see if there is value in what I'm proposing. And if they agree there's value, we will proceed and make sure this works. If they feel that we need to let go of uncontrolled upcoming of new centers, again, is the challenges of lack of amenities, again, is the restrictions of lack of adequate resources to invest to bring them up, then we will embark on that. Eventually, as Ibrahim Barrow, my brother, has read, the Constitution says everything the governor proposes must be approved by the Assembly and the Executive. And so I will leave this to the determination of the devolved government structure once it kicks off. These are my desires. Two, I will go back to the challenge. As I've told you, there is advantage in anticipating change. The communities all over are expecting change to come with the devolved government. I would like to take advantage of that expectation by making sure that first, the 10 county executive committee members must be persons of undoubted integrity. Two, we need to build self-regulating systems, and which is very transparent for everyone to know. We have already reserved manderacounty.org and manderacounty.net. Eventually, every resource that comes in and how it is spent will be posted in the county for everyone to see. And budgets will be processed through the county assembly for everyone to know. Mine is to make sure that that culture of impunity is countered by the anticipated changes, and my commitment to firmly make sure that the people get the change they desire to see from the word go. Thank you.
sorry aad iyo aad aad u mahadsantiin kolley su-aasha jawaabteeda waad maqlayseen waxa soo socda waxa la yiraahdo law and order hore loo baranin system shaqeynayo kolley systemkaas looga baahan yahay Soomaalida gobolkaas degaysa inay qaadato oo ku dhaqato si corruption u baabi'i lahayd sidii su-aashii jawaabteeda maaragtay lagu sheegay yaa su'aal kale qaba Sheekh Abdulwahab
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. من عيد عبد الله الإله مدينة كمل وحمتية مدي كمية قبل ما بدأ الله شيء. كنت بحب أن أقتل وكجوا بمتي وحمد أيام سبحان الله وآخر سنة أيوة باهرة لأنه هل شيء قليل وحوي فكرة وحوي منديرة حتى ما تصير قلب meelaha ugu qiimaha badan oo biyaha ay ka soo baxaan oo water source ah waxa ku badan geed ilaha algorob marka geedkaas wax fikrad ah ama wax maaragtay program ah oo haysaa su'aal waa marka tan labaad waxay tahay geedka waxay tahay tan kale waxay tahay fikrad ah waxa lagu sheegtay Suudaan meesha mudurmaan fikrad ah ka soo qaadatay oo beeraha ku saabsan أنا قلت هنتي أنا بيرجع جعلها من كم رجال كجير هنتي لكن بيرجع على وحي تهاي فكرة بيرجع استل قلت أنا أول ما هذا إلهي سبحانه وتعالى عرض على رجال واحد كله اللي تمر وحكى كم صباحا أنا قلت إلهي يقول كان السي هذا لا تبر وكذا أحسن ما قال الله بركة تمر يقول كان وليان داول إلى هذا وجاء يقول كان هذا هو في عين مركة وحن كذا وقر إلها geedka timirta in dhulka maaragtay bedelka cambaha in bahashaas aad loo qiimeeyo ama macallin garoonka in lagu bedelo gudoomiyaha ama gobol ama jaal inaad fikradaas u sheegto baaraka allah
جزاك الله خير. سؤال لحرير تمجرته سؤال first of all هدا جرين next question please. قف كلا.
My name is Kahin. From Wajir County. I just came in here for an invitation to visit what was happening today. All of us you were saying today was like a dream, and if that comes true, we'll be very happy, especially people from I've got two questions. Basically, my first question was the governor appointments probably you'll be making, and you'll be appointing all the people that will be working under you. Those people, do they have to be from the Mandera County, or anybody can give out the CV from Nigeria or from Garissa or anybody else? Or they're going to be basically from Mandera? And the governor, as you're going to be responsible like being a head of state, if the head of state or the head of the government or the president of the country actually wants some funds or comes in and says, oh, can I borrow some cash out of your kitty and stuff? Can you tell him off, or have you got any powers to say no to the head of state? So when he comes to visit, is it going to be the old, or the president is coming to visit us and he wants something out of us, or if he wants to get some money out of, if, let's say the president comes from another region and he wants to get some money out of the Mandera kitty, is that something that you can release? Thank you very much.
Okay, I will respond to the issue of environment as shared by Abdullahi. Those trees have benefits and they have detriments. During the drought season, those who come from Mandera are aware that the goats do use, those trees in terms of passing through that hardship area. However, as we were going through the slides, I skipped several slides because of time. We have put draft environmental protection program in the strategic plan. This is the general strategy. The operational strategy will be developed by the respective county executive committee under whose docket environment is going to follow. However, generally, the environment where we come from requires facelift and commitment towards in order to make sure that the quality of life within the environment we live is done. In my strategic plan, which is written up, we have programs which is intent, of course, is to be passed by the assembly, of creating incentives by way of employment, making sure that we are able to develop the environment within which the county is going to be based in the direction we need to take. As such, I've taken your advice in terms of considering, and when I mentioned about the production, the farming product, I said we will determine by looking at the best, most valued crops that can do well in a kind of environment through research and data. Once it's determined, we will invest as required. For now, I have not developed any specific, there's general strategy, normally there's operational strategy. The operational strategy is what will come with the very nitty-gritty specifics, and I've not done that yet, because the law will require participation of the other stakeholders for us to look at what in actual sense will we pursue. What I have is general strategy. We need to develop sector by sector. Specific operational strategies will be developed later. And for my brother who is from Garissa, Wajir, sorry. Opportunities. There is a draft law, I think it's already passed, proposed by National Cohesion and Integration Committee, which requires 30% of the resources coming to each county and opportunities be given to non-local county residents of that county. Meaning 70% will go to the locals and 30% will go to other counties in the country. So I hope that adequately answers your question. If you have the desire to join Mandera County, as I've shared with you, you do not need the law to give you permission. You can go and come in and invest. You're most welcome. If opportunities come up, I believe there are non-Wajir people getting opportunities in Wajir even now without the law. And I believe that the same will continue as a matter of good gesture. But the law requires such opportunities to be availed to other counties up to 30%. And approving expenditures. On the issue of expenditures, it's not the prerogative of the governor to withdraw any money on behalf of the county or a third-party person seeking funds. It will be the county executive committee that is going to determine jointly with the governor, and such determination must be passed by the county assembly and thereafter considered as an expenditure. So there are a lot of inbuilt regulatory controls that are there already. So we intend to borrow heavily. We don't intend to lend. Thank you very much.
السلام عليكم وين سلامي the new governor or the candidate Ali Robert, welcome to London. سؤالي محوري محا دومركا وقلت الشيء women in Somali community, they are the breadwinners in the Somali community. Ayaka suuqa taagan, ayaka ilmaha rays gareeya, marka maxaa ugu talagashay women.
Any other lady who has got a question? I ask, let's combine.
Assalamu alaikum, Safia. And I would like to, I was expecting the ladies will ask that question because that is confrontation we've been faced with everywhere we've gone. And I would have gotten a bit surprised if one of the ladies did not ask a similar question. Now, I will respond to this first from the perspective of the law. The law requires 30% of opportunities within the devolved government structure to be given to women. I have made commitment in Kenya and with all the women groups I've met that even though the law requires that we, the county government, is committed to make sure that that law is applied to the letter. So in terms of opportunities, 30% of the opportunities by law, not by favor from Ali Roba or any other person, must go to women. That means 30% of county assembly members, 30% of county executive committee members, 30% of employment opportunities within the county, 30% of contractual opportunities in terms of contracts should go to women. I strongly believe the only resources that will have 100% protection for the greater good of the community is resources that will go in the hands of women. And you have my commitment, inshallah, with the help of God, if we get there, that we are going to make sure that the law is applied to the letter under my watch. Thank you very much.
Governor Ali Ibrahim Barrow. Adnan is also doing it, and thanks for your commitment to travel all this long. And we are here actually, as usual, as a commitment. I have actually 3 questions. One, when the budget depends on population or the needs of the community, I'm not talking just about the county. Now, on a strategic level, as a Kenyan country, or it depends on the needs of the community, such as rampant poverty in, as example, in northern province of Kenya, that we all know. The other question is about politics.
Rephrase your question, please.
Yeah. Will the budget depend on, we said we are expecting 8 million up to 12 billion of Kenyan money coming to the county. But when the central government budget for this, will the budget depend on the population of that county or the basic needs of a certain region in the country? You know, considering the rampant poverty of northeastern Kenya, we all know. The other thing is about politics, actually. I may like Muhammad Abdul, Honorable, who was in politics, maybe to answer that. Just as an advice, we all know that actually the northeastern Kenyan Somalis been supporting, we all know when we were children going to school, Kanu. We haven't benefited anything really from them. So there are a lot of choice now. So will you guys advise us which party will be the best party to be supported by northern Kenyan Somalis? You know? The other thing is about abuse of human rights. The abuse of human rights. We all know what has happened in Northeastern for the past, actually, since 1963 up to now. As you guys are reading, Malkamari massacre.
Governor, my question is based on agriculture parts along the River Dawa. You said your plan is to invest in agriculture. What happens is there's some people already, the question is based on, are you going to invest in the people who already own the farms? Are you going to create a land for the government, for example, the county? And the other thing is about security. As Mr. Abdul has already told us, Mr. Abdul said that there's incident going on, which is we welcome it. It has affected us, people in London, as you know, everyone comes from the same community. We have already said that the security is very important. The people who live there, are you going to implement, let's say, obviously what's causing the security is cronyism, which you have to educate the people first. Cronyism will never bring any development to the county. And I hope you'll tell us how you will come about. Second, the third thing is employment. Based on the opportunities. For example, if
I will leave a few questions for Mheshimiwa Mohamed Abdul, and I will respond to some of them. The question of revenue allocation formula, as you've asked, the parameters we've run it is 45% based on population, 25% based on equal share of all counties, 20% based on poverty, and 10-12% based on land mass, and 2% on fiscal discipline. And these variables have been developed through massive consultation between the Commission of Revenue Allocation and the counties. And hence, that has been considered. Now, over and above that, there's 0.5% of the total collection of revenues in the country that is going to be used for equalization purposes. This is to correct, the marginalization of counties in the past. And this is going to be subdivided amongst the most marginalized communities and in terms of their development needs. So that will be what I'll respond to. The rest of your questions, Mheshimiwa will respond to. On the question of running mate asked by my brother, we have left out several positions for purposes of making sure that we share with the other clans within the county. This discussion is ongoing as we speak between the other clans in the county. That decision will be made between clans. And I have shared with the Council of Elders the need to make sure that whichever clan gets considered in terms of sharing the positions brings out someone with better qualifications than myself. Thank you very much. This is on the question of agriculture along River Dawa. We do not intend and we do not have the resources to relocate or move the persons who have occupied ancestral farming land, which is about at the most probably 0.5 kilometers from the river up to there. We would like to leave those where they are. The complexities of trying to deal with that is a problem. What we want to do is start phase A away from what is not occupied, develop the land from the scratch and move. And the land that we're going to develop will be allocated using an equitable sharing formula so that the communities residing within the county all benefit in each phase. It's not phase A, we'll have all communities benefiting with given percentages that will be agreed upon as equitable distribution formula. And that I will leave it at that for purposes of responding to the issue of agriculture along River Dawa. Security. When I went around the county in July, I was very depressed. When I came back, I took it upon myself to push the government, the security arms of the government. And it's through my effort that over 120 soldiers have been taken to Ramo, Ashabito, and Banisa. And I chose that path because the presence of security instills a bit of confidence in it. I have commitment, as everything I've spoken about will be impossible to be achieved without security. I have commitment to make sure that people understand there is law. And the law will take its course by making sure that instead of saying 5 have been killed, you say 5 persons have been killed. And tomorrow 5 others have been killed. We're still sleeping. If I give you brief background, the time that the conflict between the Murule and the Gare happened, which was caused over by issues of resources, there was repeat discussion of peace. At that point, some of my colleagues who come from the county, I was trying to insist that let the law take its course. These communities will never stop fighting unless they are clobbered ruthlessly by the law. And by grace of God, the intervention occurred, the government sent the military. A few persons have broken limbs, hands, and a few persons have bruises. However, there was no discussion of negotiation about peace and conflict resolution. There was a lasting peace with legitimacy between those two clans because the government chose to indiscriminately, punish these people from Elwak to Lafe. Is it good? No, it's not. But if your population in the county refuses to see sense in killing human life as something that is extremely, unacceptable in the minds, in terms of even conceiving that the
issue of political parties, and my friend has mentioned the party of Mama and Baba, Kanu, and those staff. What we want to say is, I've already mentioned that in passing, but we are not intending to be a static community that will stick with an old, non-performing, non-delivering party or something like that. But the issue is that the situation is a bit fluid in terms of settling for political parties. There